Hey guys, it's Cece and welcome to another Off Topic. So Off Topic is a video series that I started in January on my channel where I just get to choose whatever I want to talk about in a video, and it's really casual and fun. It's off topic. It's not about books, it's about whatever I want. In January, I talked about recent movie trailers that I really liked, and today I want to talk about The Good Place. So The Good Place is a show on NBC that just finished up its second season, and I want to talk about it because I have grown to love The Good Place so very, very deeply. I'm gonna start by hopefully trying to only talk about spoilers from season 1, and I will warn you when I start talking about spoilers for season 2, because it just finished, and I want you to have a warning. Basic premise, The Good Place starts, and it's about a woman named Eleanor Shellstrop, and she wakes up, and she is in a place called The Good Place, which means that she's died, but great news, she got into the good place. She did enough good stuff. Except it turns out that she is not who the people of the good place think she is. She is there by mistake. Before I get into any spoilers at all, if you haven't watched The Good Place, do not watch further in this episode. I think that the first season works best if you don't know what's going to happen if you go in fresh, and I do not want to ruin any plot twists for you. You should just watch it. It's funny and diverse and interesting, and more gets into questions of like complex moral issues and philosophy, and it's really, really good, and you should go watch it, okay? Go away. Don't get spoiled. Don't do it. Okay, so, The Good Place. I love it. I watched the first season of The Good Place 3 full times in the space of a couple of months, and every time I watched it, I would watch the season in about 2 days. It's a very, very short show that you can get through quickly, and I also fell in love with it so incredibly fast. What I think is so wonderful about season 1 is that it has this really high concept idea that, for the most part, I spent the first season kind of going, where are they gonna go with this? What are they gonna do with this storyline? Because it can really only hold for so long. But what works about this show is that it's constantly reinventing itself, and every time it starts to feel stale, it becomes a new show. And I think that that's something that held true for season 1 and has held true for season 2, up to and including the finale, which... okay, show, I'm panicked again, but I'm into it. I also think that what works about The Good Place is the characters, all of whom I love so much. So, Tahani is my favorite character in the show. I would die for Tahani. I would die for Tahani Al-Jamil. She's wonderful. But as a collective group of just even the 4 main characters, Tahani, Chidi, Eleanor, and Jason, they're all wonderful, and that's why I think I would stay invested in the show even if it has a couple of less strong episodes in the middle. Janet is also wonderful. She's one of the best characters on TV. She is so funny, and the actress who plays her is brilliant. So on TV, what we want is to see characters who grow. If characters stayed the same, that wouldn't be dynamic television. Sort of the point. You want to see them keep becoming new people and learning and growing. Whatever direction that learning and growing takes them, I think it can be just as fascinating to watch a character grow and sort of deteriorate in how they look at the world. But what is so happy and wonderful about The Good Place is that it is a story about people who are constantly working on being better, who are constantly thinking about how to uplift each other and how to impress one another, how to make sure they're being good, and how to make sure that they are not disappointing the people that they love. Because Eleanor's entire story is about this woman who was not a very good person in life because she grew up and it was shitty, and she just didn't care because she didn't have people around her that were asking her to be good. But as soon as she has that option, people around her who she cares about, that's when she starts reaching for better. That's when she expects more of herself. And I think that that's such a beautiful and wonderful moral for a comedy, half-hour TV show. You should expect the most of yourself because you want to be a good person, but you should also expect the most of yourself because you want to be better for the people around you and for the people who are trying to be better for you, if any of that rambling makes any sense. So, season 1 ends, and I'll be honest, I did go into season 1 knowing the big twist, that it's not The Good Place. So, I went into it knowing because the day that the finale aired, I had heard almost nothing about The Good Place, and then all of a sudden everyone was talking about it, and there were gift sets on Tumblr, and I saw the whole thing where Eleanor is talking about how they're actually in the bad place. I'll be honest with you, that is kind of what got me invested in watching it, and I think I would have liked to have seen that first season one time without knowing, but every time I watched it, I saw more stuff that was building up to this secret little hidden element that they kind of keep from you. Every time I have watched the show, I find something new, some detail that the showrunners have put in there. Especially detail comedy is something that these writers and these set designers excel at. If you're ever watching a scene and there is like anything written in the background, pause it and try to look at it all. I'm gonna leave a link down below for a couple of the paused scenes when Michael is talking about how you get points and how you lose points, because every single thing that gets you points or loses you points is hysterical. You have to read through them all. I think my favorite thing that gets you points is that there's a little thing on there that said, almost wrote a Facebook post about David Bowie's death and then realized that the world didn't need another Facebook post about David Bowie's death. They're wonderful. Stuff like that is great. Every single name of any restaurant in the background is, generally speaking, a really good pun. In season 2, there is a bit where all of the restaurants in the background are pizza joints. Read the name of every pizza joint. Someone pointed out that Eleanor's Google search near the end of season 2, if you look at it and if you pause and read the predictive answers on every single letter that she types, every single thing is a joke. If there's ever a BuzzFeed article pulled up, every single headline is going to be a joke. Like, the detail of the humor in the show is really, really wonderful, and I appreciate that they're going for this huge concept, this story of good and bad. What makes a person good? What makes a person bad? What does motivation matter? All of these huge issues that they're constantly talking about moral philosophy, and at the same time, like, they make up stupid BuzzFeed headlines that are hysterical. Okay, in all honesty, this is where I'm gonna stop talking generally, and I want to get into some more specifics, so if you haven't watched season 2 yet, turn away. I'm gonna kind of be talking about everything. So, season 2 has ended. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. We're talking about season 2. The reason season 2 got so much more in-depth, I think, with the moral element is because now these are characters who are all dealing with the fact that they weren't good enough, but that they want to strive to be better. I have never been one for amnesia storylines. They really have always frustrated me in the past. I have never watched a show where a character doesn't remember a huge part of their character development and not been frustrated. It always infuriates me. But something about how The Good Place does it doesn't bother me. It makes it more interesting because I get to keep relearning these characters and seeing how they can still be the same people if given different motivators. It's why I'm also so fascinated with the concept of how season 3 is going to get rolling, where we have yet another amnesia storyline, and as soon as I saw that was gonna happen, I had that little, like, apprehensive part of me where I was like, okay, I dealt with amnesia once, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it again, but it got me again, and I think it is because of these characters who I've come to love over multiple different versions of themselves over the past 2 seasons. So I've already talked about the fact that I would die for Tahani. Tahani is everything to me, but I think that it's because I love everyone. Even going into season 2, I love Michael. I never expected to love Michael like I do, but first, I mean, Ted Danson is a brilliant actor, and I love Ted Danson, and his maniacal laugh at the end of season 1 should have told me that I would love him just as much in season 2, but the fact that even he has kind of gone through this moment of realizing that he's bad, and what does that mean for a demon to want to be good, is really compelling. His entire existential breakdown for the couple of episodes in season 2 where he was like, oh no, I'm bad. What do I do with that? It's so brilliant. There are a few things that I don't think the show does quite as well, and one of those things is romance. I do like some elements of romance in the show, but for the most part, I've been sort of meh about the entire concept. I especially have not been a fan of Jason and Tahani in season 2, just because it felt somewhat out of nowhere, and I just don't think that their relationship has been developed as others in the show. I was cool with Jason and Janet. I thought that that was sort of a funny side romance that made a little bit of sense. It was only okay. I did not initially love Chidi and Eleanor. I wasn't super behind it until these last few episodes of season 2 where I really felt like, oh, look at where Chidi is in his life. I think I haven't liked their romance as much because I've seen that Chidi still has so much growing to do, and I wasn't ready for that to also have romance thrown in, but seeing how far he had come by the end of season 2, I was suddenly really excited about them, which is why, like, the end of season 2 is really exciting, but also somewhat frustrating because, like, my guy, he finally did it. He finally made a decision. I actually cheered aloud. I did want to talk about, this is sort of a disorganized video, but that is what these off-topic videos are for. So there was this theory going around that Noelle Stevenson kind of was the first one to put into the world that every person is a combination of 2 characters from The Good Place, which is really, really interesting. I actually have an article about that if you would like to read it down below as well. But as soon as I read that description, I had this kind of instant reaction of going, oh, well then I am Chidi and Tahani. It was a pretty quick situation for me to identify very strongly with those 2 characters. Chidi from the beginning, I knew I was Chidi. There is that scene in season 2 where he's talking to Eleanor that especially solidified it for me, where he says that he can't make a decision because, his brain is always making the sound of a fork stuck in the garbage disposal, and it just gets louder and louder when people ask him to make a decision, and I was just like, whoa. Okay, getting too real here, Chidi. I'm feeling a little too strongly about this. Him and Tahani, both as characters, just, I connect with them very strongly. Like, as a question to ask all of you, if you are Good Place watchers, if you're interested, let me know which 2 Good Place characters you see yourself in down in the comments below. I think it's a really interesting scale, and I'm always curious about that. If you're not sure, go read that article I listed for you, and maybe it'll help you decide. Back to stuff that maybe I don't think it's as strong in. I don't really care so much about Derek, but it's because I don't love that actor. I think Jason Mantzoukas has a tendency to play very similar characters in all of Michael Schur's shows, which are Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and The Good Place. I think he has a tendency to play very similar characters, and I just don't really get invested in any of them, and I think that's because he keeps playing the same sort of characters. So Derek isn't super compelling to me, and also the other thing that is a little bit of a weak point is that I think both seasons have had this problem where for 2 or 3 episodes mid-season, it starts to feel stale. There are like 2 or 3 episodes that feel like filler, that seem like, okay, I know the status quo, you've got to reinvent. But even with those low points, I think the show always does reinvent, which is why I keep watching it. It's because it hits those points and then it knows it has to do something completely unexpected. Like, Eleanor has to come forward and say that she's the one who doesn't belong there, or they all have to go to the bad place. They all have to figure out their own way to prove that they have become better people. Mostly, I love The Good Place because it is this funny, quirky-looking show with odd characters and odd storyline, and it is just like so aesthetically bright and happy that you don't expect it to deal with these heavy issues, and yet it does deal with these issues of good versus bad and where do we fall in the middle, and it's genuinely about love and the people in your life that should be there to make you better. You should have people around you that make you want to be a better person, and I love that. I think that it's an incredibly valuable storyline to have on TV right now, that we should want to be surrounded by positive influences and that those positive influences should improve us. So yeah, those are my general feelings on The Good Place seasons 1 and 2. Side note, Eleanor and Tahani should be in love. Okay? Can we all just agree? Can we all just agree on that? They should be in love. I like what's going on with Eleanor and Chidi. I'm really excited about that. I'm interested to see more where they're gonna go with Tahani, but they're in love. Also, Tahani in The Bad Place with that haircut and the American accent. Good. good things. I liked it. Anyway, are you a watcher of The Good Place? Let me know some of your feelings on it down in the comments below. Especially, talk to me about season 2. What do you think about the finale? What do you think about the season overall? What's going to happen in season 3? Any of these things, please, please, please talk to me in the comments below. I am so excited to read them. Thank you so much for watching this off topic. I hope that you enjoyed hearing me gush a little bit about one of my new favorite shows. Is there a future off topic video you would be interested in me doing? Let me know that down in the comments below as well. And I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!